Hello, hello, hello. So I'm going to check to see if everything's working correctly on my phone real quick. Hopefully it is because I got my microphone. I'm in a new place over in Bangkok. So I'm listening to it right now. It sounds pretty good. Loud and clear, King Louis. Appreciate it, Brett. Thank you for telling me. All right. So, yeah. Oh, let me turn this off. I forgot I got YouTube Premium, and because I wanted to download a whole bunch of stuff before one of my flights, I forgot to cancel it. And with YouTube Premium, even when you turn your phone off, if you have YouTube on, it will continue playing in the background. So we got that. And yeah, coming at you from Bangkok. So I did leave Florida not too long ago. I was over in Dubai and then flew to Florida and got an apartment in Miami, just to Airbnb, and then flew back to Dubai. Realized that is not for me at all. Worked something out with the good guys, Nick and Guy, and now I'm over in the motherland, my favorite place ever, Thailand. Shout out to Thailand, best country I've been to. Bangkok, best city. Sorry about that. Best city I've ever been to. And yeah, I'm just setting my office up and everything right now. So that's what we got personally. And on this stream, what I want to do is go over my master indicator that I was building out. I had a few live streams before where I talked about it, and then choose another indicator to basically add, or choose another metric to add to the indicator, right? So I'm going to jump into my where is it? My Claude code, or not Claude code, just my regular Claude, right? I'm going to jump into my Claude and I'm going to show you guys what it is looking like. So let me share this tab instead. Go over here, and as you can see, and what I'll do is I'll make this a little bit more so you can see it right here. All of this stuff on the screen, this is what I'm building as part of my master indicator, huge dashboard that I'm going to be using in order to analyze the market. Because typically in my analysis, what I do is I go over a lot of different metrics. I go over the Bitcoin dominance, the altcoin dominance, the total market cap, the MVRVZ score, how many days it's been since the top, how many days it's been since the bottom or since the halving, what the drawdown is, what the current drawdown is, and obviously market structure and candlestick analysis. These are all things that I go through in my analysis, right, to get a comprehensive picture of the market. And so I'm adding each of these things to this indicator one by one. So I'll quickly go over some of the stuff that we have right now, and then I'll just go and do something else, do a little bit more of analysis, tell you where I think we are in the market. I will say this: things are looking pretty bullish, probably more bullish now than they've been in quite a while, which is really, really cool. So because of that, I'm going to also let me just go over here real quick on my other screen and get this up and running so I could see comments and stuff like that. I know. By the way, Brett, where are you from? Because I know we got Florida over here with Discovering Florida 67, right? But I don't know if I know where you're at. You're not in Thailand, are you? If you are, let me know. Anyway, I'll go into this right now. So the first thing, if I make this bigger, is we got the Bitcoin dominance, right? So let me show you what's happening with Bitcoin dominance right now. That is actually very, very interesting. Okay. So if we go over here to trading view, we go to Bitcoin dominance. That's BTC.D. You could type that in. I don't know why I just got super dark. Let me make myself a little bit brighter for you guys. Probably because it's on dark mode on trading view. But yes, so going over here, we got Bitcoin dominance right here, right? And the way that Bitcoin dominance works is that as Bitcoin dominance goes up, that typically means that altcoins are going down, right? So what you want is you want to get into altcoins, or you want to get into the market in general when Bitcoin dominance has risen and has gone up. Okay. That's because it's hitting a resistance, and then Bitcoin dominance will go down. And that typically coincides with money flowing into the market and altcoins going up. Right. So that's like right here. This was basically like the best time to get into the market was back in June of 2025, and before Bitcoin dominance went down, a whole bunch of altcoins rallied really hard. Same thing in, of course, October of 2024, right? October 2024, November 2024. During November, like all these altcoins started going up, but Bitcoin dominance was going down. And then, of course, in 2021, it's like the same thing. Like January 2021 is basically when the altcoins season started, and that's when Bitcoin dominance just cracked and fell really far down. So if Bitcoin dominance is going to fall down, then that's probably a good sign to get in. And right now, you could see that Bitcoin dominance was in this range, just basically not really showing any signs of weakness or strength, but it's finally broken out of this range that it's been in ever since, you could honestly say, like September of 2025, pretty much the top. And it's broken out of that, which this is the exciting part about this, though. This is the exciting part about this, is that Bitcoin dominance broke out. However, like I said, when Bitcoin dominance goes up, that typically means that money is leaving alts and going into Bitcoin, or it's leaving alts and it's also leaving Bitcoin, but it's leaving Bitcoin at a slower rate. So Bitcoin dominance is going up, right? However, I'll just show, like you could see, this is the weekly chart. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got like 4 weeks of up, moving up in Bitcoin dominance. And if you look at, let's look at Ethereum over the last 4 weeks. Ethereum has been going up over the last 4 weeks. Look at Solana. Solana has been going up slightly over the last 4 weeks. I know Hype. I don't know what happened with Hype. Hype went up before this, right? Well, that's against no. So Hype has been going up over the last 4 weeks. Let's look at Useless, the coin I've been looking at. Oh, that doesn't look good. But yeah, everything. Basically, what I'm saying is that all of these altcoins, not all of them, but a lot of them have been going up over the last few weeks, while Bitcoin dominance has also been going up. That's unusual. That's not typically what happens, right? So because this is the case, this is actually making me sort of bullish, because like I said before, as Bitcoin dominance comes up, it comes into a resistance. And basically, when Bitcoin dominance comes into a resistance, that means that the inverse, which is altcoin dominance, is coming into a support, right? So let's look at altcoin dominance. So looking at altcoin dominance, it was in a range for months and months and months and months. And now it's breaking down. It's going down. So when altcoin dominance goes down, you would expect that money would be flowing out of alts, and the altcoin market would be going down as a whole. But like I just showed you, the altcoin market has not been going down. It's actually been going up over the last couple of weeks, which means that money is flowing into the market. Like there's no other way around it. Like money's flowing into the market. So when altcoin dominance hits a support, right? And then that typically means, well, what that means is that altcoin dominance will most likely move back up. And what happens when altcoin dominance moves up? It means that money is flowing into the market and it's flowing into altcoins. So over the last 6 months, I have not basically altcoin dominance, Bitcoin dominance, they have not been signals at all. But the fact that we've finally broken out of this range, on the dominance levels, and you couple that with the price action, to me, that's pretty bullish. And when it comes to Bitcoin itself, like I've mentioned in past streams, on the Fun and FOMO show on Coin Bureau, main channel, on the regular Coin Bureau podcasts, just like regular Coin Bureau videos, I've said last time, like, hey, look, Bitcoin is probably going to be moving up much further, and I'm still in that. It's been making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So maybe we get a little bit of a retracement. Altcoin dominance, where's altcoin dominance? Altcoin dominance goes down, okay, as continues going down, as Bitcoin and maybe some alts go down, and then altcoin dominance hits the supports, and then Bitcoin and alts both end up moving up. And Bitcoin ends up moving up, hitting like 80, 83, 84, 85. And then that's where I would just be looking to short the market, because like I've said in other streams, I don't think that the bear market is over from a time-based perspective. It's always 1 year, right? It's always 1 year. And we have that in this master indicator, right? That's the BTC's days since bottom and BTC days since top, and I guess it's the BTC days since top and ETH days since top. So in the Bitcoin days since top, you could see that 2013 to 2015, 410 days, 2017 to 2018, 363 days, 2021 to 2022, 376 days. That's from the top to the bottom. And it's only been 199 days. So that's why I think that we're only about, I don't know, is that halfway through? No, it's more than halfway through, but a little bit more than halfway through, right? Because we should have around 360 days to 380 days before the bottom is in, if this cycle continues as before, right? And that's why I'm looking at the market right now and I'm saying, hey, look, we could go up, probably going to go up. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not thinking that a bull market is going to be back on. And I know the subtleties in this differentiation are so important, but no one follows them. No one has these discernments, right? Everyone is so just like, the bull market's back on. It's going to 100,000. It's going to 500,000. Blah 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 blah. Like look at all of the hate that Benjamin Cohen is getting right now, right? Like he's getting hate because he said that the bear market. He said that April is going to make new lows, and even though I do think that was sort of a dumb statement, right? He did have another thing that he said, which is like, just if you think that crypto Twitter is, savage right now, just wait until they're the first bounce. And so he understands, like, look, this is the first bounce, because I don't really count the bounce that we had in January as like a true bounce, from 87 to 97. I mean, it was okay, but I think this one has a potential to go, higher percentage from bottom to top. So that's why I consider this to be the full bounce. But you can see on my chart here, I'm thinking 58,000. That's the 61.8 golden ratio of this entire move, of this whole, let me make it a little bit so you can see it better, of this entire move, right? So I like that. I like 58,000 as a potential bottom. And the other thing that I do look at though, is like, I see this giant wick. If I zoom in, I want to make sure that you guys could see it. I zoom in over here, and you can see like there was this huge wick that happened back in August of 2024. So I do believe that underneath there at around 48,000 is like, there's probably a lot of liquidity. I'm sure there's a lot of, I don't know, bids or stop losses down there. So if we don't hold at 58, I think 48, like, and honestly, if Bitcoin hits 48,000, might as well just, jump in it, right? Because it's such a good value. And if things continue to play out, which I believe that they will, that would be an amazing buying opportunity, of course, right? So let me just check some stuff real quick. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe maybe he's taking a little bit of a break, but I'm sure he'll be back. Maybe. But regardless, that's my overall analysis, right? Like that's what I'm thinking, just so you have a good idea. And so I showed you the Bitcoin dominance. I showed you the altcoin dominance. Now there's also USDT dominance. So that's this one right here. And if I click on this, USDT on trading view, fear, greed, proxy, high is fear, low is greed. So I'll just go to the actual chart so you can see it better, and have a better understanding of this, right? So, and this is all obviously, this is just how I look at the market, how I trade. And I'm going to have to use some discernment here because of where we are in the market cycle, but USDT dominance is not looking too bad either. Because if you look, what USDT dominance is, how much money is going into USDT, and it's the percentage against everything else. So if the dominance of USDT stablecoins is going up, well, that obviously means that people are selling their crypto and moving into stablecoins, which is bad for the market. It means the market's going down. And you can see that right here, this big red box that I drew out. As USDT dominance continued to move up, that was when we had the bear market in 2022. And then the bear market topped out at around 8.78% USDT dominance. And then it ended up bottoming, the market ended up bottoming at around 8.7%. And look at this, we basically tagged 8.7%. Like we tagged it on a wick. This is why I'm still hesitant. This is honestly why I'm still hesitant, is because you could see right over here, like we had the body close at this area, and then that marked the actual bear market bottom. But before that, we had a wick into this area, and then we had a bearish market structure breakdown and a move down. And a lot of people were thinking this was the bear market bottom, but then of course we ended up dropping, and then that's when Bitcoin fell to around 15,000. It went from like 20,000 to 15,000, right around here. And then that was the actual bottom. So if that repeats, then, okay, we got the wick into this area, right? And it closed right here, just like how it closed right here. Then we have the bearish market structure break on the weekly time frame, just like how we had right here, bearish market structure break on the weekly time frame. Okay. And then, hopefully this USDT dominance continues to go down, alts, Bitcoin, and the like continues to move up, and then it turns around, everything crashes, we get a huge crash, it comes back up to this area where the previous bear market low occurred, and then we have the low for the cycle. The low for the cycle is in, and then Bitcoin rallies up to $250,000 as USDT dominance comes down. I hope this makes sense to you guys, but this is my overall thesis, right? And but given where we are, we had the bearish market structure break on the USDT dominance. There's still 3 more days to go, and it does need to close underneath here, but it is looking, pretty good. Now, the other thing to consider though is that USDC, Circle's USDC, their stablecoin, has been gaining a lot of traction. Okay, Circle's USDC coin is now just as important as USDT. It used to be that USDT was just so overly dominant that you didn't really need to pay attention to any other stablecoin other than USDT, Tether. But USDC is now obviously making the rounds as things are becoming more institutionalized in crypto. USDC is the go-to stablecoin, right? So you have to pay attention to that. And this is something that I don't even have. I don't have this in my what do you call it, master indicator. So this will be the next thing that I add. This will be what we could add this stream, and then next stream, we could add something else. And also I will say, like, I'll go back to the USDT just to show you how powerful that this was last cycle. This is what helped me call the top in September. Like literally a week before. 2 weeks before the actual top in October, I was very. It was like this. It was like 2 or 3 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks before. I was very, very adamant that the top was in back in the last week of September, and then the first week of October, I was like, I'm not too sure, but I was still extremely cautious at that time. But this is why. If you look right here on the USDT dominance chart, okay. This is 2024, and remember that in late 2024, November and December of 2024, we had a bull market, right? We had a little bit of a bull market, and a lot of things went up like crazy during that time. And that's this green box, right? And what happened was it tagged this orange line, which if I zoom out, you could already see it, right? You could see that this orange line has been since April of 2018. This is where it started, and it's been tagging the bottom every single time we had a bottom. And then in 2021, during the huge bull market, that was right here. That was at this orange line, right? So if we were going to have a bull market, I said my analysis that we would have it at this orange line, basically right here, which was in the late 2024, right? And we would have it right here. But we weren't really having it. Right here. And this was back in August, September, right? So when we weren't having it in September, and then we had the bullish market structure break, the higher high, higher low on USDT dominance at this line, it was looking like this line was not going to be broken, and we weren't going to have that crazy blow off top or crazy bull market at that time. That gave me a lot of reasons to be super cautious around September of 2025. And so that's why these are how you could use these, these charts and these indicators, these metrics, to analyze the markets and to come up with some really good thesis, to come up with some really good analysis, because a lot of this stuff makes sense. And I don't just use the USDT, obviously. I don't just use Bitcoin dominance. I don't just use altcoin dominance. I use all of them in conjunction with one another, right? And that's how you come up with a good hypothesis on what the market's going to do. And that saved a lot of people a lot of money, right? But now, like I mentioned, USDC is important. So we have to go into USDC, and we can, I don't even have this plotted out. I have nothing plotted out on here. The only thing I have plotted out on here is this moving average. So this is the exponential moving average and the simple moving average, 200 each, right? So if we look at this, what do we see? Or what does this mean? First off, it's a stable coin. And so it's going to be the same exact thing as USDT, right? As that stable coin. When USDC goes down, that means that the dominance of the USDC stablecoin is going lower and it's getting less, which means that people are taking money out of USDC and they're spending it. They're spending it on altcoins. They're spending it on Bitcoin. Okay. And that's why the bull market started in November of 2022. That was the $15,000 bottom of Bitcoin, was in November of 22. That was right here. Okay. And then as Bitcoin went from $15,000 to $126,000, all right, that is when this occurred, all right? That was when this occurred. And then June, July, so 2025 is 2026, right? So this it occurred here, and then this shenanigans happened. But the vast majority of the move from 15K to over 100K happened while USDC was going down. So if USDC is going down, that's good for the markets. If USDC is going up, that's bad for the markets. So what does that mean? That means that if it hits a big resistance, then it's most likely going to turn over and fall, which is going to be good for the markets. And if it hits a big support, well, then it's most likely going to go up, and that's going to be bad for the markets. So we could put this here. We could label this green, and I'll say good for the market. I'll say hitting a resistance, potential longing opportunity. All right, so boom. This is, and why is that? It's pretty obvious. We got the support right here. We got the support right here. We got the resistance right here. So this is a big SR flip area, right? So I just look at that and I say, okay, this is the area that I want to be looking at. And it's also important to have a range. You don't want to just have one single line. This is something I've learned. It took me a few years to learn this, but you want to have a range, because if you have one single line and let's say it doesn't quite hit that line and you're waiting for it, you know, what's going to happen if it comes all the way up to here and you're just waiting for this line to get hit and then it turns around. Obviously that's not good. So the way to get around that is to create a range and then look within that range, look at the candles that happen within that range. And if you see a bullish formation, or in this case, a bearish formation happening within the range, then you can go long, go short, you know, do whatever you need to do for your analysis. So we have this one plotted out. What's the other one I like to do? Well, got the Fibonacci, take it from the top to the bottom. And wow, holy crap. Look at this. So boom. Look at this. This is crazy. This is absolutely, and this is why I love technical analysis. So I just plotted this range out, right? Look at where the range is, dude. It's at the 61.8. It's right in this golden ratio. Is that not perfect? So is that not massive amounts of confluence to tell you that if USDC dominance comes up here because everyone is putting their money into, you know, stable coins, then it has a very high likelihood of turning around and going down from here, which means that you want to be buying in here before it turns around. But people, they only buy after it turned around and it's coming down, and it's coming down here. Look, man, I've used TA. TA works like a effing charm. People have used TA to make hundreds of literally billions of dollars. I mean, dude, Stan Druckenmiller, he's probably the best investor and trader of all time. He uses technical analysis. like he's literally, he's the best investor of all time, and he uses technical analysis. 30% gains year over year for 30 years. Okay, 30 years. Or maybe it was, yeah, I think it was 30 years. He's never had a down year once. The only other thing that Stan does that is quite contrary, quite different, is that he doesn't use stop losses, and he really likes to go in super heavy in high conviction bets and not really take too many other bets that he's not too sure of, which are things that I've learned. Dude, exactly. TA is the only reason why I'm in the green with trading these days. It's the only reason. TA is the reason why I kept my money this cycle. TA is the reason why I've made money every single year since I got into crypto in 2017, except for 2018 and 2022, because I didn't know of TA in 2018. Like, that's when I learned it, right? because I got into crypto in 2017, and then I made a whole bunch of money, and then I lost it all in 2018 during the bear market. And then I was like, how are people still making money? Because I would see on crypto Twitter, people were still making money, right? So, and I saw, oh, they were shorting the market. That's how they're making money when the market was going down. Well, what is shorting? Oh, it's using technical analysis. Okay, well, let me learn about that. And then I learned about that, and I read 20 books on the topic, and I took 10 courses on it, and joined groups and mentorships and all this other stuff. And I learned technical analysis, and that's how I've been making money literally for the past since 2021, essentially, like, right? So really 2020, so 6 years, really 6 years, pretty insane. So yeah, we got that. Anyway, I'm looking at USDC, back at USDC, and obviously if it comes here, this is where I want to be getting in. If it comes down, where would I want to? The question is, where do I want to get out if it comes down? And let me just, I want to make this a little bit, I want to make it like perfect, right? So let me just do this real quick. I'm gonna put this here, I'm gonna put this here. I'll just do that. All right. So I would say, by the way, if you have an idea, let me know. But I think this is pretty obvious right here. This is a pretty big support. Look at this. Like, we got where's my little arrow? We have the resistance right there, right? We have the supports. It didn't really hit it, but like, I guess you could just say we have the small resistance right there. But then of course we got the support right there, okay? And then of course we got the support right there, and then we got the little fake out, but this is pretty much the resistance, right? So we got the support resistance flip right here, and it spiked into it, and then it came back and it flipped this area. So if it comes back down here, this is a very big support. And so because this is such a big support, I want to be cautious if it comes down here, and I will basically look to get out. I'll say hitting a major support area, be extremely cautious here, get out of all long positions, take profits. All right. So this is what I'm going to do if it comes down here, right? So now we have two very, very, very clear, very, very obvious levels. And I'm trying to think, like, do we need anything else? Oh, well, there's this. Okay. So we're probably going to get a bounce if it hits this, trend line. So if it hits the trend line, I would most likely want to get out of the market. And let me make this trend line. Actually, I'd rather make it this one, this ray, right? So yeah, I mean, these are the clearest, these are the biggest ones that I've seen. The only other thing I see right now is this. All right. This is the bearish weekly breaker. Weekly bearish, boom, 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 order block. This is the weekly bearish order block. It's the up move before the down move that broke the market structure. So I'd have to be a little bit cautious in this area. Maybe it's going to hit 3.777 and then go down a little bit, because that's the weekly bearish order block, and then come up, hit the 4.4, and then that's when it's going to really, really go down. That could make some sense. That makes a little bit of sense. What's up, Janice? Thank you. So we got all of this, and let's go into, where's my, here it is. So going back into my master indicator. So I want to say, let me scroll down. I want to say, okay, I want to add USDC dominance to the dashboard. And then what I'll do is I'll add the levels that we just put in, right? I'll say if USDC dominance hits 4.323 to 4.644%, then it is hitting a resistance, which is a potential long opportunity. Go heavy into longs in this zone. Also, if it hits between 2.264 and 2.481%, then it is hitting a major support area. Be extremely cautious here. Get out of all of long positions and take profits. All right, so now that we have that, and let's see what comes up. Let's see what gets built here. This is just like really, really, really cool. Oh no, you guys, are you seeing this? This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Let me zoom in for you. Claude is telling me that I've reached my plan's limit and that I need to wait until 10:30 p.m. It's only 7:40. Oh my God. To keep working before then, I could buy extra usage or I could upgrade my plan. What do you think? What do you think, chat? Buy extra usage, upgrade your plan, or just wait it out and continue with the stream and do a little, maybe do some altcoin charts, maybe go through a few charts. I think that's probably what you guys would rather have me do. So the reason why this actually use another AI. I'm not on the cheapo plan, bro. I'm on the plan that it costs money. That's for sure. I'm definitely on the plan that costs money. I just don't know. You see that bloody screen? What are you building, James? Dude, it's like I can't use another. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't want to use another AI because I was using ChatGPT at first, and what I was doing is I was having my macro recorder screenshot the charts, and then I was having ChatGPT analyze the charts and then tell me like basically what or where the prices were and what the levels were, and then doing some calculations off of that. And it couldn't read the charts. I tried for like a day or like 2 days. Didn't work. And then I switched to Claude and I did the same exact thing in Claude and it one-shotted it. It was able to read the charts perfectly. So I'm sticking with Claude, and I'll just continue, I'll continue doing this. The reason why I hit my limit with this is because I was using it earlier before the stream to actually make sure that the USDT dominance levels, the altcoin dominance levels, the Bitcoin dominance levels, I was making sure that these things were actually, in here and accurate and everything like that as I was going through this to prepare for the stream. But I'll just wait and then I'll just do it, and maybe I'll end up upgrading my plan in the future, and we'll see. But yeah, it's going to be pretty sick. So I'm going to have USDC dominance in here, and then I'm going to have a bunch of more things. Like I'm going to go into on-chain metrics and stuff like that, and eventually turn this into some type of big data aggregator platform that anyone could create what I'm creating, something like this, right? It's just, it is taking, it's very complicated, and you sort of have to know what you're doing. But yeah, I'm going to keep on using Claude for it. And in the meantime, we could go back here. So definitely the cheapo plan, just like me. I got the pro, whatever the pro plan is. This is what I got. So it costs money and you still have to pay. That's not good. Yeah, that it is some BS. I'm not gonna lie, because it adds up. It definitely adds up. And I'm not trying to spend like hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month just on AI tokens. So we'll see if I could get the cost down. But let me also see. I'm reading some more of the comments and stuff. So, all right. Struggle moving OpenClaw to another model to use my Anthropic plan fully every month. Use 85 month a month. Yeah. Mainly because, oh, how are you like an OpenClaw? I still haven't gotten that. I still haven't done that yet because I'm still doing this. Custom integrations for clients and a few tools yourselves. I actually want to do that. Not like myself, but like have a company, because I know people that are really, really wicked good at AI and can make these custom things for run these custom things for clients and stuff. I'll figure it out. I figure it out how to do it. Let's just look at a few things. Let's just look at a couple things. This is interesting. Look at this. This is the Bitcoin against the S&P 500. Okay. And look what I did. Like, it's so crazy. All I did is just like take the Fibonacci from the bottom to the top. And I was just like, I want to rotate out of the S&P 500 and rotate into Bitcoin here. And look at what, and since then, it just like happened to, Bitcoin has outperformed the S&P 500 by 14% so far. Will it continue doing that? I don't know. But this is another chart that I look at. I think that if it does come up here, it's probably going to be, that's going to be pretty bad. That's going to be a giant head and shoulders, right? Like left shoulder, head, and then maybe a right shoulder, and then like maybe go down. It'll probably like do that, and then that'll be like the end of the bear market. I'm surprised. Who else is surprised to see this? The S&P 500 making new all-time highs. Who is surprised to see that? I know I am, because I was expecting it to come down. I was expecting it to come up first and then hit around 6,900 and then crash, because that's the bearish, that's the bearish order block right there. But no, it just rallied right through it like nobody's business. Absolutely diabolical. So now S&P 500 is looking really, really good. And that's obviously the fact that this is looking good, probably good for Bitcoin as well. Oh, hey, some of my metals and shit are still are rallying now. Oh, let's go. Look at this. Dude, this is crazy. I knew it. Yo, I plotted. This is technical analysis. In case you're wondering what this is, it's like I drew this green box when it was like up here. like I drew like a lot of these. I drew this like it was still up here. Like, this is crazy. This is perfect. I don't know if who here is trading oil, by the way, because that's been going absolutely crazy. FXC. Look at this perfect retest. Perfect fucking retest of man, insane. Boom, boom, and then breakout, retest, off to the races. I don't know if you remember this. I know Brett probably does. I said like a few months ago, I'm selling all of my crypto and I'm going into metals. I know a lot of people were like, what are you doing? Right? I haven't really made that much money doing that, to be honest. But at least I didn't lose money, right? So that's good. But Let's see. I mean, there's a couple things that I noticed beforehand looking at the chart. Okay, so that's I was gonna say I noticed that Sol against Bitcoin was at this really nice level. It did have that nice bounce, but now that it's falling, there's no point in going into Solana. I might as well just go into Bitcoin. So I'm gonna That's for sure. Yeah, I know. I did get plenty of heat for that one, but I mean, dude, I got so much. I get heat for everything. You always get heat for like saying you're selling or saying that like you're not buying or whatever, or saying that you think that the price is going to go down. It's like you always get heat for that, except for at the bottom, because then that's when everyone like sells everything, and has already sold everything, and then you don't want to. So you don't want to. What do you call it? Like no one else wants to buy, and no one else wants the price to go up because they already sold. So then if you say, hey, like I'm not buying, or hey, I'm selling or something, then they agree with you. But most people don't know what the heck they're doing. That's all you got to know. Most people have no idea what they're doing, and you might as well never pay attention to anyone, and you just learn how to do technical analysis yourself. Learn how to I mean, I looked at a few traders, and I would look at their analysis, but I would always like do my own analysis alongside with them. I never just like blindly follow people. And like most people don't even blindly follow technical analysis. They blindly follow what they do is they blindly follow people on crypto Twitter that just say random, hey, this is going up, like this is going to the moon. And like that's it. Like they don't like there's nothing else, right? There's not actual technical analysis in their it's nice, man. Yeah, it's like there's not technical analysis in their actual analysis. They're just like, hey, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. I was looking at this one. This is very interesting to me because this is one that has been going up since December, or like not necessarily up since December, but it went up quite substantially since December, and then it's just going sideways. So you've been watching everyone for 5 years. Oh, you're getting better. It's good. The important, I think the important thing to do is to like find people who know what they're talking about and who you could trust and who you could like back test their analysis and just like make their analysis your own. And then eventually just like use the time that you would be using watching other people to just do your own analysis, and then maybe watch someone else's analysis after you do your own. But like it's always better to just like learn it yourself if you have the time. If you don't have the time, then that's where like I don't know, mastermind groups and stuff like that could come in. Like I have one, but like it still does require a lot of work unless you're in some type of inner circle that just like gives you buy this amount of this coin at this price, sell it and then like you get text messages like right when you're to buy and sell it. But usually those are like super expensive and like for private clients and stuff like that. So it's just better to learn it on yourself, learn it on your own, Does anyone have any coins that they're looking at? Because I don't know, there's a couple that I am looking at, like lower market cap coins, stuff like that. Rabita or Tibber is one, but like it hasn't reached it hasn't reached the level that I want it to reach before I buy it. Like I would like to buy it. I mean, I guess technically it has, and I guess hopefully this isn't a double bottom and it ended up triple bottoms and it comes back down and falls a little bit lower. But like this is one. It looked interesting to me. ICP, dude. Did you see did you see how there's like people from North Korea in the in the Ethereum Foundation and stuff like that? Apparently, allegedly. What if they're an ICP? Yeah, it's good. It's good to just stop gambling on most coins. Like the thing about if the thing about crypto though, which is why I do look at coins well outside of the top 10, and I look into the very, very, very low market cap coins, is because if you play the basically if you play it right and you look and you do the narratives and fundamentals and stuff like that on these super, super low market cap coins, you could get 100x. You know, you could get 20x, 50x, 100x, 200x on these low market cap, and you're never going to get that with, you know, trading, like technical analysis, right? So that's why I always dedicate like 1% to 5% of my portfolio to these to like per coin for these lower market cap coins, because like you put 5% of your portfolio or like even just 2% of your portfolio into one of these coins and it ends up doing like a 50x, you know, it's going to outperform putting, you know, 20% of your or 50% of your portfolio into something and it doing like a 1% gain. You know what I'm trying to say here, right? What is it? What do you say? I trade newer coins with the lower market cap and sell the top, then short them like River. You know how I think that you might be LARPing on this is because if you're talking about, because you said newer coins, and most of the time new coins, you can't short them. Trust me, I would have shorted them if it was a possibility. But most of the times you could only buy them. They're only available on DEXs, you know, on DEX decentralized exchanges, and there's no like shorting capability on these new low market cap coins, which is also one reason why they go up like crazy. Dusk Network. Why would you be, man? Why would you be? I'm curious. Can you let me know why you would be dollar cost averaging into Dusk Network out of everything you could be getting into? Because I'm pretty sure Dusk like is a dead crypto. But hey, I could be wrong. Also, it is actually like looking not terrible. So this is crypto, so anything could happen. You know, anything could happen, really, to be honest. It might have like some random, like this is the type of coin that I would just see have like a random like 500% pump out of nowhere, or I guess like a random like 700% pump out of nowhere. I have Blowfin. Oh, okay. So I guess you could say like lower market cap coins, not necessarily like brand new, because when it's like brand new, they come out on DEX, but new enough to where they're on the, you know, tier 3 exchanges, you know. Yeah, dude, by the time something gets onto Coinbase or Kraken or Binance, even at this point, like it's pretty, but by the time a coin gets onto any tier 1 exchange, 98% probability that it's going to go down. Like, so if you want to make these crazy gains, like you really just got to buy them on a DEX, sell them when they get listed, and then, you know, short them essentially, or just leave out the shorting part. Privacy. I wonder how privacy is gonna work out. Oh, there's one. What is it? Qual. I was trying to think like what could be a good AI quantum computer coin, right? I think it's this one. I think if I remember correct, QUAI, is that it? Not sure. I remember something had to do with quantum computers, because I think quantum might actually end up being a big narrative, right? And so like the things that have quantum resistance in them would be something to be looking at for sure. Quant X, that was it. Thank you. It's not, is it not available yet, or hopefully this is it? I don't know. Not sure. This is the only one that I could think of off the top of my head, if this is it. I'm not saying to buy it. I don't even own any of it, but maybe looking into some of these like quantum resistant coins is probably a good idea, to be honest. Met. What is Met? This. I don't know what happened. What is this? MET. Oh, is this? Why does this look like Jupiter? Or this looks like Meteora. Meteora. That's what it is. I remember. Oh, so I'm scared of anything DeFi. I'm pretty scared of anything DeFi right now because I just did a video on AI and how AI is basically looking for vulnerabilities in smart contracts and in codes, and it has been finding quite a lot of exploits. So, dude, what? That's sick, man. And so when it comes to like DeFi stuff, I don't know. I just don't. I think there's a lot of headwinds against DeFi protocols, and there's too big of a possibility that they'll get hacked because of what's happening with AI. So I'd just be too scared to get into something like Meteora or Aave and honestly, I don't know. Looking at Ethereum, I'm trying to think of Ethereum as well. Like Ethereum, it runs on smart contracts. I wonder what the negative possibilities are of the potential downsides of the AI finding out these exploits are in Ethereum. Like, is it a possibility? Right? I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean honestly, what I've learned is to expect the unexpected, right? So maybe Met does end up doing something crazy. I mean, this from here to here, it could be this could have been an accumulation. So it's a potential bottom for sure. I just don't know, and I don't have enough knowledge on why it should pump, right? I don't know. It probably will, just because like things have random pumps. But yeah, I would have to understand it a little bit more. Damn, Zcash is doing great. Was really hoping that it would fall down here. To be honest, I wanted to go to the 88, but it stopped at the 78.6. I got it. I got a little bit. I got like one good trade in on this. It was like amazing, but like obviously should have been holding it. I think if Zcash comes back down, I would probably want to get it just because of how well it's been performing. Tau, I'm waiting on Tau to come back down. If Tau hits 140, I'm going all in. It's gonna be so good. I'm looking at. I think honestly, dude, like Doge. I think Doge will always have a place in the markets to have some spikes. So I have some Doge, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm waiting. I'm still waiting on a lot of things to reach certain zones. I am net long right now in everything that I have, because like I said in the beginning of the stream, I believe that like the market's going to be going higher. But This was pretty good. But yeah, I'm still going to be cautious overall. And what we'll do is I'll do the USDC for next stream. I'll make sure I have USDC, and I will also look at a few other. I'll look at a few other like on-chain metrics, and what I'll do is I'll just like put them into the master indicator over the course of like throughout the week, and then that way, like during the stream, I can sort of just like review it with you guys instead of like building it with you, instead of building it like at the same time, and I think that could be pretty good. So, it's been an hour. Anyone has any questions, let me know. And I'll wait for like a minute, see if in case anyone has any questions. And if not, though, then I think we're going to call this one a shot because, you know, it's been an hour. So just let me know if there's anything that you guys want to hear. If not, then we will be good to go. All right. I think we're good. Thank you so much. Yeah, 100x long everything, not financial advice. All right. Thank you guys so much. See you next time. Peace out.